The compressor is assembled, I installed and tightened the head, checked everything, and it turns and pumps well. So, next I'll be installing the power steering pump. The compressor is ready, I'm installing it now. Alright, the compressor is installed and I quickly attach the coolant supply and return hoses. I've already assembled everything I could. Now I'm putting the engine in its working position and continuing the assembly. I turned the engine over and set it in its working position. Now I'm going to install all the attachments on this side. That means I'll put on this mount the bracket, this pipe, and the oil filter. Alright, next I installed the manifold with the turbocharger. I wanted to put the turbo and the manifold in place and start getting the engine ready to run. Now IC painting will be very inconvenient for me. That means I'll have to cover the manifold with something somehow. And besides, because of the manifold, I won't be able to reach in here and paint these spots. And that's exactly where the worst corrosion is. So what decision am I making? I'll probably take off the manifold now and paint the engine first. Then, once it dries, I'll put everything back together and start it up. Now, I'm starting to prepare the engine for painting, covering all unnecessary surfaces, like the exhaust manifold where the starter goes and some of the pipes. Basically, as I go, I check everything, cover it all up and seal everything off. First, I spray it with primer and then I'll paint it with this red color. That's the work I have. I'm starting now. Alright, so I prepared the engine for painting, covered up the openings like this and made solid gaskets. I sealed some parts with tape. I also covered the grooves on the pulleys with tape so that paint doesn't get into the grooves. I put plugs somewhere here. On the gearbox side, I just covered the surface where the gearbox mounts. It's not a big deal if paint gets on the clutch basket. I'll be painting the engine while it's suspended. Now, I'll lift it with the hoist so I can raise it higher or lower it. so I can move it back and forth. Basically, I'll try to do it this way to make it more convenient. I'll be painting with this kind of paint. First with acrylic primer, then with red paint, also with thinner. Alright, the engine is suspended. Now I'm starting the painting. Alright, I primed the engine. Everything turned out well. I forgot to put on the second mount earlier, but I've added it now. It won't be primed, but that's a minor detail. I'm mixing the red paint and applying the second coat. I've also prepared the plates, the tube and the turbine. I didn't have enough primer, so I'll paint them as they are.
All right, that's it. Let's go.
Alright, that's it. My engine is painted and it's already dry. The paint is dynamic, so it's been about a day. About 20 hours have passed and the paint is dry. So next I remove all my plugs, install the turbocharger and get the engine ready to start. Dynamic. Turbocharger installed, dynamic. I tightened the oil drain, tightened the oil feed bolt, installed the shield, the pipe, that's it. Next, I'll install the starter, fill in the oil, connect the diesel, and so on. I also want to mention here that this engine comes with an intercooler. I'm having some difficulties. So, this is where the air comes in from the air filter. That is, the air goes from the filter to the turbocharger. From the turbocharger, the air goes out and passes through the pipes to the intercooler, to the radiator where it cools down. Then the cooled air comes from the radiator into the intake manifold. So accordingly, I need to make a jumper from this pipe, from this outlet to this one, if I want the turbocharger to work right now when the engine is running when I start it. But I searched, I looked, and I don't have anything like that. So if I find some hoses or something now, so I can connect all this, then we'll be starting it with the turbo. But if I don't find anything, then it'll just be idling. It'll run, I'll check the pressure, and that's it. So it'll be smoking, since the turbo won't be working. Anyway, I don't know, we'll figure it out as we go, we'll see. Maybe I'll find some hoses, maybe not. Alright, so that's the kind of problem we've run into. Okay, that's it. Now I'm connecting the starter. The starter is installed with 2 nuts. The third is tough to tighten here, but 2 will work for starting it up. I always use the same starter. I've already got the wires connected here, and there's a button set up. So this is my starter specifically for bench testing. Alright, the starter is in place. I'll connect the battery and check if they're charged. They're not. Alright, the starter is in place. I've connected the batteries. Now, let's try and see how the engine will turn over and whether my batteries are even charged. No. Alright, everything's great. We can connect the cell line. Alright, so what I did was I connected the hoses. Here's how things look now. This is my manual priming pump. This hose comes from the tank and it goes to the manual priming pump. Here it goes to the low pressure pump. From the low pressure pump it comes out, goes into the high pressure pump itself. This is our return line and the injector's return line, both currently going into a separate bottle. Now I'm going to prime it. First I'll prime the system so that the return line spits into this bottle first, and then everything will go into the main bottle. Alright, first I'm priming it. So it started to get hard to pump. That means the bypass valve is working. So dirty diesel is out and now clean fuel is coming in. Well, now I'll pump a little more, about 100, 200 grams. Then I'll top off this bottle to the top and put the return line back into the tank. So I added diesel to the bottle and now everything is in one bottle. Both the return and supply lines. I set the supply line as low as possible so it won't run dry just in case. Well, the return line is somewhere in the middle. Now I'm bleeding it again and trying to start it. Okay, next I'll show you that this is my throttle cable. Here's our start button. I'm testing everything out. I have something else to add. I'm starting it without water since I need to make a plug here and there first. And since I didn't find any pipes, I need something to connect them with. I need a good pipe, the right diameter, plus two 90-degree bends. So I didn't find anything. We'll start it like this. The main thing for us is to check the pressure and basically listen to how it runs. Well, basically just to see how it runs smoothly or not, if it shakes or not, if it smokes or not. But by the way, it will smoke because the turbo is currently disconnected, plus it's cold, so I think it will smoke anyway. So, since I don't have anything here, I'm not adding any water. It'll literally run for about 2 or 3 minutes, no more. So now I'm setting up 2 cameras and recording the whole process. All right, let's pump it again until it gets hard to pump. I pumped it well, and the remaining air is out. All right, I tightened it here, kind of made a plug so that when there's vibration now it won't splash around. All right, I'm adding the second camera and starting it. Alright, so we see that basically everything is fine. The only thing is when you give it some gas, it starts to emit black smoke. Well, that's because it's not getting enough air since our turbo isn't connected. So basically everything is fine. Here I had some oil leaking, but that's not from the engine, it's from this plug right here. It's coming from the power steering pump, meaning there's still oil in it. The impeller is pushing it, and that's why it's dripping here. It's nothing serious, so I'll just put a rag here to soak it up. It runs smoothly, idles evenly, and doesn't shake. The pressure is good, almost 8 atmospheres at maximum. Well, the relief valve kicks in at 7.5 or 8, anywhere from 6.5 to 8, depending on which valve is installed. Alright, so I'll start it up again and check the pressure one more time. Because I was mostly on the other side. I'll check the pressure again now. Let's use a flashlight to check inside the exhaust manifold and see how it looks. Well, that's basically it. Well, that's it. I think that's enough. It's running without water, so that's enough. It's already worked enough as it is. The oil is still cold, but here we have the exhaust valve. Well, it's already about 40 degrees here. Of course, the manifold itself. My hand can't take it anymore. That's it. I think that's enough. I started everything up. Pressure is good, running smoothly and no shaking. So, in the comments, people were asking to mention the cost of such a repair. Well, I gathered a bit of information here, as much as I know. Give or take, it's all approximately plus or minus 20%. Camshaft pulleys cost about 6,000, main bearings 7,000, lifters 12 at 400 each, about 5,000, and piston rings 6 at 1,200 each. About 7,000 gasket seals, copper rings. Well, basically all the consumables are also about 6,000. The injectors and the fuel injection pump were serviced around February, so I don't know how much the repair cost there. I can't say anything about that. Ooh, my work is free because this is a company bus where I work, and the painting as well. Both the labor and materials are free too, because, well, obviously my work is free again. And for the materials, I went to the body shop and just collected leftover primer and leftover paint there. I have 3 cans here made by mixing all the leftovers. Both the work and materials were free. Repairing the compressor, the bearing, bushings and cylinder cost about 8,000, bringing the total to 39,000, but partially. Some parts were in stock. For example, the camshaft bushings were in stock. They weren't bought this year, but maybe a year or 2 ago. The same goes for the tappets. And there were some parts for the compressor as well, taken from stock. That's already 11,000 for us and 4,000 for the compressor. So the total comes to 39 with 15,000 subtracted. That means 24,000 was spent. A total of about 24,000 was spent. Well, let's say 25,000 was spent. It was specifically for the owners of this bus that the repair was done on a very tight budget, meaning the whole point was to make the repair as budget friendly as possible. Since soon all these buses will be outlawed at the legislative level, It will no longer be possible to work with them, and it will be necessary to buy all those new NIFAS buses or some Chinese vehicles. So basically these ones can only be scrapped for metal or maybe sold somewhere for parts, something like that. That's why the goal was to make the engine last for another 2 years, which this engine will handle just fine. It could even last longer depending on how it's used and maintained. But overall, it's a good engine. It turned out quite decent, let's put it that way. So, about the painting, I did the paint job partly for myself and partly for the video, that's all. If I hadn't painted it, nothing bad would have happened. In a year, 2, or even 3, this engine block wouldn't have rusted away. That's why I partly did it for myself. Because when you look at it now, you just feel this inner satisfaction with your work. And of course for the channel and for the videos it will look completely different. So what else do I want to say? Those who have been following the repair of this engine know that I took it apart sometime back in February, maybe at the end of February or the beginning of March. Then it sat disassembled for a long time. After a month or a month and a half, I took apart the donut, and again, everything was lying around in pieces. So even now, it's not clear when it will be installed, maybe in a week, maybe in another month. The bus is sitting over the pit. It also needs some repairs. It might stay in my workshop for another month, or maybe they'll install it in 2 days. So I don't know that yet. That's why I'd like to continue this series. To film the engine installation on the car, maybe show some specific moments, and then the actual startup on the car. I'd like to film, you know, how the car drives out of the garage and so on. But since I don't know when all this will be done, I'm recording the ending of this video now, and we'll see how things go from here. There might be another episode, but that's not for sure, as they say. So that's how this series turned out. I think this will probably be the 7th episode, but I'm not sure yet, maybe the 6th. It turned out to be quite a long series, a whole 7 episodes. I'm also curious. Are there people who watched all 7 episodes? Sometimes when you read the comments, it seems like the person only watched this 1 episode and they're asking questions there. I'm just curious myself. I spent so much time and effort filming this series, so I'm wondering, are there people who watched all 7 episodes? If there are, write something in the comments. Let me know somehow, or just put the number 7, for example. Or, I don't know, just write watched. I'm just personally curious if there are people who watched all 7 episodes. Let me know in the comments. I'd really like to know. Well, with that I'll be finishing this series. That's how the series turned out. That's how the video turned out. That's how the renovation turned out. Thank you all for watching. Good luck to everyone. Bye.
Put a lot of time and effort into filming this series. I'm curious if anyone watched all 7 episodes. Since there are so many videos, you often spend even more time on them. You put all your nerves into it. Maybe that's too much information.